You know it's going to be a great show when you can hit that intro music right in the middle of Gage having a conversation and just pissing him off. It's going to be a great show.
I know it's going to be a good show.
Welcome to the 5280 podcast on the MHRT Network. I'm your host, McNuggets Creevy, alongside Karen Parker, Gage Madrid, and Glenn Hauser. How we doing, gentlemen?
Doing good. I was gonna say, when do we not do that though? Like, if Glenn leaves to go to another room, and also we go live, or how often do we not go live? Sometimes, on opportunities like this. So I feel like I'm kind of desensitized to whenever we do that.
I know.
We almost did it without both you and Glenn because both of you were taking forever.
You just hit it. But yeah, make sure you head on over to the MHRT Network channel on YouTube. We got lots of shows for you on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the neighborhood on game days. You've also got Gage Madrid hosting Broncos Syndicate. That channel is growing like a weed. It is just all over the place. Gage giving you as much content as you could ever want from the Denver Broncos. So make sure you head on over there, hit that like, subscribe, the thumbs up, hit join on Broncos Syndicate. You can also now hit join on MHRT Network. All the options are there for you when you go to either page. Ours is $2, $5, or $10 a month, and it gives you different benefits for each. You can check out Cameron Parker hosting mainly Broncos on Wednesday nights on the network, and still Glenn's got nothing. So
I was going to say, programming note, we are not recording on Wednesday tomorrow, but we're going to do it on Thursday this week.
You can record whenever you want. We normally go live, but I mean, whatever you want to do. Also, newsflash, make sure you tune into Mario's show. What is that?
Why is that?
Boo!
What do you call it?
Altitude adjustment?
Altitude
adjustment. Come on.
I was going the other one, and I didn't want to. But Cam and Glenn will be on altitude adjustment right after this show.
Immediately.
Ask Mario why he didn't invite me, asshole.
Yeah! See? The two on the left are just like, hey!
Just kidding.
We're favorites.
Mario's banned.
Yeah, seriously. We've completely exiled Mario from the MHRT network because he betrayed us and joined Let's Talk Broncos.
But you're more than welcome to come over here at any point in time, Mario. Just hit me up and let me know.
Slide into those DMs.
Slide on into my DMs. All right, so obviously we had a big game on Sunday for the Broncos.
We did
against the Raiders. Once again, we sweep the Raiders, and the score may have looked close, but this game was not close, not even a little bit.
No, I mean, yeah, it was one where, I mean, if we're going to use the Broncos team, it was one that was very much like a 2015 type of scenario where the Broncos were in firm control for the entire game, and then it happened to be a one-score game, because that's the theme of this entire season for the Denver Broncos. is one-score games, but it was just such an impressive performance because, yeah, it was a one-score game, but it was truthfully one of the first times that you could see domination in the running game, the passing game, and pure efficiency, and even special teams. But it was efficient as all can be within that game. And I mean, there were definitely some games where it felt like they were clicking on all cylinders, but it's just when you kind of get down to the meat and bones of the season and you're really surging forward for that number one seed in a playoff spot, these types of games matter for you. Take the Raider stuff out of it. These types of games matter for you as you're getting down there for the home stretch. And, we'll talk about those meats and bones of that game, but it's just to see the performance that you got from RJ Harvey, who's continuing to get better after that was his third start, right? That was his third start. So to see that kind of performance, and obviously Bo Nix's performance, you could be a little bit nitpicky, if you will, for the defense, if you will, but all in all, a stellar performance of the Broncos in that game against the Raiders.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, it was a one-score game, but the Raiders literally kicked a walk-off field goal to lose by 7.
A walk-off loss.
I understand what they were trying to do. They were hoping they'd get 1 second on the clock after that field goal, and they could get an onside kick or some crazy ass play to happen to tie the game. But still, that kicked a walk-off field goal to lose that. It was never close. The Broncos, once Marvin Mims returned that punt for a touchdown, they had complete control of this one. The Raiders offense, outside of their opening drive and garbage time, could not do anything. Our offense was crisp, clean, concise, Bo Nix, on time, in rhythm, in structure. This was one of those ones where you evaluate it, and every complaint was super nitpicky, and you get through the tape in about 30 minutes because it's unremarkable, and that's a good thing. There's not really a whole lot to evaluate, to be honest, because it was that good.
And it's one of those games, too, where they can actually do this as the season finishes up, where the Broncos are holding the ball for this extended period of time, where these drives are lasting 9, 10, 12 plays, where they're holding on to it, where they're keeping the Jordan Loves, the Patrick Mahomes, the Justin Herberts, the Trevor Lawrence is off the field. That's just going to bode well for the Broncos. But I mean, just all across the board, it was an impressive performance right from the get-go.
Yeah, well, and I think that another way to preface this is that, and we talked about it. If you're a box score watcher and you never watched the game, there were a lot of them after this game. Like, and if you're a box score watcher, it didn't do any justice for the actual game that Denver Broncos team had, or specifically Bo Nix or even RJ Harvey. Like, they were so crisp in this game. And to piggyback off of what you guys were talking about, it's like they were efficient. They were everything you could ask for. They were eliminating the big play, the big chunk plays, but they left a lot of stuff open there in the intermediate parts of the game, and Bo picked them apart. Like, I believe it was Benny Fowler who said it in the X and O's show. But it was just like that is like, and this is something that goes to like the last 3 weeks with Bo. He has looked so Breesian with his offense. Like, it's been so impressive to see how calm, collected, poised, and efficient he has really been with this team really since that Chiefs game. And frankly, we'll have the conversation because it's in our headline, but like, he is playing like an MVP, like at an MVP type of level, because when you need your best players to perform, he's delivering. Like, he is absolutely delivering in their biggest moments. And I do think that we're going to look back onto that Chiefs game, and obviously the Chiefs are dog water at this point, but it's just like, that's the kind of game where, like, going into this Packers game and the biggest game that they had in the last 10 years, and he performs at a high level, is going to give him that kind of confidence going into this Packers game this upcoming Sunday. So he is performing at such a high level that I really hope people stop nitpicking the fact, that he was a check down merchant, if you will, in this game, but yet he was forced to be a check down merchant in this game, and he delivered.
Yeah, and I'm like, I know that, we break down games and we complain about stuff. In this game, I mean, the only things I can complain about are Pat Surtain got some penalties. And
yet another cornerback gets nailed for some penalties.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, there's not much else to complain about. I mean, you saw RJ Harvey start out the game, still trying to cut outside, but then he started finding the hole in the middle, and he was getting some good yardage.
He was so good in that game.
Jaleel McLaughlin was good. I do still think that we're missing that heavy hitter in the middle, because it seems like the Bidet, McLaughlin, and Harvey are all going to be better options in the screen game outside or running outside. It doesn't seem we're still missing that heavy hitter. Do we know if J.K. Dobbins will be back if we make a deep run in the playoffs?
He might be back for the first playoff game. Like, that's what Sean's indicating here. Yeah. He said that he definitely has a strong chance to come back. So as far as the run game's concerned, you got to give RJ Harvey credit where he's due. He looked a lot better up the middle. He looked better with vision, man. Hitting the right hole, not being indecisive and bouncing everything to the outside. That looked much, much better. Not perfect, but a lot better. And
that was a waffle stopper. Anybody know? I don't know what that is.
I do, but I don't want to say it here. Let's just put
I'm
it
going to
that
Google
way.
search it.
Mike's hungry now.
No, he's not going to be hungry after this one.
Hold on, I'm going to Google search it.
God damn it, Mike.
Waffle.
So, anyway, well, Mike takes this show completely off of the rails here.
It wasn't me.
No, this is you. You bought into it, okay? And he is a child, so he's got to know what it is. He can't not know. Anything that we had to complain about in this game was super nitpicky. I mean, RJ Harvey had a couple plays where he bounced outside. Everything else was great. Bo Nix, I said it in the green room, had about 3 or 4 plays where he hit the check down a little too early. You want him to hang in there and get to the next read. And there were some times where the check down got blown up at the line, but the check down was open basically the entire game. So I don't blame him for getting there a little bit too early in this one, because more often than not, it was going to go for a really big game. So I have no complaints really about how Bo Nix played. I have no complaints about the run game, the offensive line. The defense was really, really good.
Dude, my Facebook feed is screwed now.
No, we're not. We're not doing this today, Mike.
There's possibly the YouTube algorithm as well.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That's
trying,
like the
Broncos
that's the most
country. I
tame thing that's
tried.
on- That's easily the most tame thing on Mike's algorithm, I'm guessing, quite honestly.
I mean, yeah, kind of. But to
Like
be fair, why you
Mike.
dropping logs down the shower drain, man? That's when you got the Hershey squirts, is when you do that. Jeez.
But no, I to what Gage is talking about, like RJ Harvey was honestly fantastic. Like he was like that was such a forecast for him being running back one. Like that was like the vision, I would feel like, for Sean and why they drafted him. And frankly, it's going to piss a lot of people off in the sense because, you know, there have been some Harvey doubters, and the fact that maybe Sean wanted Travion Henderson and he really didn't want RJ Harvey. Right. But like, and granted, I love Travion Henderson, but like, it was clear in the press conference and everything, like when they drafted him, they loved RJ Harvey. Like they loved RJ Harvey. And then when you hear him talk about it, he was glowing it in the press room when they drafted him. And this is the kind of game where you saw everything that was Harvey and why they fell in love with him. You know?
Sorry, I'm distracting.
You know, and so it's just, I don't know. It was just everything that you would have envisioned about Harvey, his contact balance, his vision coming from college, it was there. And I think that what has made this so impressive from Harvey is that when the vision has been him bouncing outside and not cutting on the inside, he's also doing the little things right, which has been his biggest critique. Like the last couple weeks, he has been phenomenal in pass protection.
Yes.
And because of that, he's earned a lot of this respect and performance that was given against the Raiders. He has frankly looked phenomenal when you kind of piece it up together.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that RJ Harvey.
Dude, you know what? We got to stop this. Like,
Did you watch the guy who just got lost to the Chargers in overtime?
Also,
4 interceptions. AJ Brown with quite that effort for that last pass.
Also, no disrespect, but we also beat you in an 18-point comeback.
Yeah, Eagles.
No disrespect, but defending Super Bowl champions can't seem to get along and make a run for a second
no
one in a row because they're just so unhappy. I mean, unbelievable.
No disrespect, but Philly seems like the bigger joke between the two teams right now. Just saying, man.
No disrespect, but you're a waffle stomper. How about that? Let's throw that. There we go. And Sean Payton did admit during the first matchup with the Raiders, he did not have a good game plan. That was not the case in this one. The game plan was so much better. Everything was running pretty smooth. Didn't have a problem with the offensive line. Everything just seemed to come together and work, right?
What a bold admission, just like none of us realized that until he said that he had a rough game. It's I give him credit for really stepping out there and pointing out his shortcomings in that particular effort.
Yeah.
I know there's a group of fans out there that literally love to complain about Sean Payton's play calling every single week, but I'd say these last 3 games, it's really hard to point out any flaws in the play calling and the game plan. They executed to a T on offense pretty much for the last, 12 quarters now. Their offense has been in rhythm.
Well, and the other thing that I would even piggyback off of this is he kind of heard the complaints. He kind of heard the complaints, and then he started to adapt. Like, one of the biggest criticisms that we had seen from this offense, and I do think Bo does operate a little bit better in the shotgun because he's frankly used to being at Oregon. But if there's one thing in the short amount of time in Denver that he's super excelled at, it's been under center. And the last couple weeks, in the last 3 weeks, we have seen far more under center with Bo and specifically RJ Harvey, that it's been a little bit more successful. And, we've been saying all year that the rollouts, the naked bootlegs, like everything that is so successful for Bo on the move is starting to really add up now because he is so successful. And the one thing that I was just going to continue on that is like, it's also like his clock management has been fantastic. Like I would say probably the whole year, but like these last couple weeks, these last 3 weeks, like it has been really impressive, like how he's handled it in the halftime situations, the 2-minute drills, like everything, even late in game. It's been stellar. It has been super stellar.
And the overall operation's been a lot cleaner. We're not seeing early timeouts get burned. I can't recall the last game where we saw that. So that's a positive because every single game, even dating back to the Russell Wilson era, we were burning our early timeouts. We weren't getting the play call in on time. I feel like the overall operation is getting streamlined. It's Bo Nix, it's Sean Payton, it's everybody who's involved with that. They're all making strides to have a much smoother operation out there.
Yep. So we sit here and we talk about Bo Nix. We might as well just go into the title of the show. and listen, I'm not like so out there that I think this is actually going to happen, but I think it's at least worth a conversation, right? Because right now you've got a lot of people that were leading in the MVP votes that are either hurt or they're not playing well or they're done for the season or what have you. Like Daniel Jones, at one point he was in consideration for MVP. Well, he's done for the season.
Baker Mayfield
is not playing great. Patrick Mahomes is not playing great. Jalen Hurts is not playing great. Lamar Jackson is not playing great. So who does that leave? Right? You've got Matthew Stafford. You've got Drake May. You've got Josh Allen, of course.
Probably was Jonathan Taylor, but that's
I think Sam Darnold should be in there. I think you have to throw Myles Garrett in there. I don't think he's going to win, but frankly, if he gets that sack record, he should be in there.
I'd argue he probably should be the MVP with the season. He's having the best defensive season I've ever seen.
Right? Yeah. You got Smith and Jigba. Like if he crosses 2,000 as a wide receiver, I think he's got to be in the conversation. But then you look at Bo Nix, right? The season didn't start well for him, right? Like there were concerns there, but you've got a team that's won 11 games. They've won 10 in a row. In the fourth quarter, he's got an 82% completion percentage, and his QBR or quarterback rating is like 167 or something like that in the fourth quarter. Like, if you're looking for the most valuable player, the Broncos don't get any of this without Bo Nix. Mm-hmm. So I think that there should be a conversation of adding his name to the list.
I mean, there's a stat that frankly, that people have nitpicked and criticized and everything for Bo Nix dating to the beginning of this season. And yeah, it's the whole 4 quarters argument. But if there's anything to be said about Bo Nix, and the reason they've been winning some of these games, it's because of the performances in the fourth quarter. And that is, I mean, if you're asking me, that is like ideally when I want my MVP to be showing up. Again, do we think he's going to win? Absolutely not. I will say, though, this is a very critical stretch for an MVP type of conversation with the Packers, the Jaguars, and then the Chiefs, and then kind of ending with the Chargers. If he, hypothetically, if he goes and he has maybe 2 to 4 touchdowns in this stretch with no interceptions, and plays with this efficient, type of performance, if you will, down the stretch, I very much think that MVP type of conversation will be a thing, because like he played in its biggest moments and biggest games, and he delivered in those biggest moments and biggest games for them to win these games. Because it's really hard to ignore. Like, because if he does that too, and they're winning these games, that's what, a 14-game winning streak at that point. Like, and that's absurd. At that point, he would be having the most winning streak of a Broncos quarterback, more than Elway, and then more than Manning, or since Manning, if you will, because they won 17 or whatever it was. It's such an impressive feat, and I would really hope that the MVP voters, at least at that point, hypothetically, would look at that.
Yep. Can you bring up this last comment?
I was waiting for somebody to tell me to bring that up.
Yeah. So I guess the Patriots are a joke because they lost to the Raiders in week 1, right?
Boom.
The most fucky week of the entire football season. The week that people are learning what these teams are all about. For God's sake, man.
Darian, if you
and it's
tell
a
me that
conversation, Darian. I mean, honestly, Mike prefaced it by saying it's.
I don't think this is going to happen.
Yeah.
But honestly, there's no clear-cut MVP at this point. And to what ends up happening if he ends up having 350 yards a game in each of these next 4 games, and the Broncos finish 15-2. I mean, that there's got to be some discussion. I mean, everyone's talking about Drake May, and I live in the area, and the guy's, I think the guy's an incredible talent. The Patriots are insanely lucky to have that short window where they were struggling, before now having great success. But I mean, the guy throws a lot of short passes, and nobody is really referencing that. It's a conversation, Darian.
Why doesn't anybody else get that?
Let's just be honest, man. YouTube titles, you've got to be a little clickbaity here.
I mean, and then if we're gonna be clickbaity too,
is it polished Dylan Gabriel?
I mean, if we're also gonna be, talking about, I don't know, clickbaity stuff, the Patriots' schedule is a joke. Like, it's a flat out joke. Like, it is a flat out joke. I mean, if you really want to come for the number 1 seed, I'm not entirely sure you want to be playing Josh Allen after the game he had last week.
That said, they asked Coach of the Year. I think Mike Vrabel is right on the top of that list.
Right where I was going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there even
him.
any other coach in the running?
Yeah, I mean, he probably is like
McDonald from the Seahawks, perhaps. I mean,
yeah. I think it's going to be Vrabes.
Has to be.
Either
He's changed the whole culture.
You know who it should be, though? Sean Payton.
Bo Nix! Yeah!
I got something on Bo Nix, but go ahead, Cam.
Well, what I was going to say is, like, I understand why it would be Vrabel, and it frankly should be Vrabel with how he's turned that. But when I think of Coach of the Year, and it's one of the reasons why, like, I want to also, like, appreciate the teams who frankly had no business being there, right? And that I think would lend a variable. But Mike McDonald, frankly, should be like, as far as on a very short list for me on Coach of the Year.
Ben Johnson.
Liam Cohen. We trashed him.
Oh, yeah.
With the Duval stuff. But like, he's got him cooking right now. Like, and frankly was probably Shane Steichen at one point. Probably could have been up there. So like, there are some legitimate candidates. Like, there are some legitimate like candidates that I think, for me, it's like when I look at the Coach of the Year, like the ones that really resemble what a Coach of the Year really means for me, it's the ones that frankly should never have been there. And I think, again, like that probably goes to the Vrabel stuff, but like the Liam Cohens, and frankly, the Mike McDonald's, like the fact that it's there is impressive. I absolutely do think at this point Drake May is the favorite for MVP. So
no way,
Really? Over
Matthew
Stafford?
Stafford's the favorite.
I think that Matthew Stafford is probably going to be the favorite, and let me tell you why. The MVP has become a joke nowadays. It's the quarterback who has the best stats award. That's what it basically is. It's never going to go to a non-quarterback again. At least I don't feel like it is. Last time we saw that happen was Adrian Peterson, and unfortunately, the MVP voters out there are media members who don't watch film. They just look at the numbers. They look at the box scores. They see who's got the best stats, and that usually ends up being the MVP. I hate it because millions of dollars of gambling money are on the line every single year for MVP, and I think it's kind of a sham, joke-ass award. But if you look at just objectively how Bo Nix is playing, especially over these last 4 or 5 weeks, he is playing like a damn good quarterback. He is definitely the team MVP right now because he is putting the team on his back. But again, with the screwed up voting process of the MVP, he's not going to get it. It's going to probably be Stafford or May.
Well, and sorry if you're actually looking at who should be MVP, in my mind, it's Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at I think the Browns have 44 sacks. Myles Garrett has 20. Like he has half of the team's entire sack total.
Yeah.
If he breaks the 22 and a half, because right now he's on pace for 25, 26. Like he's just going to blow the record out of the water. I think at that point, he should be the MVP.
Yeah. It's just,
especially on a defense like that, a team like that, to be able to manage those kind of stats when you have no support is unbelievable.
Yeah.
There you
He
go.
should get both DPOY and MVP as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Can you win both?
Yeah.
You should.
A few weeks ago, Scadaboo was asked who he thinks the Super Bowl is going to be, and he actually said Rams Broncos.
That'd be something.
What, 4 or 5 weeks ago?
Man.
Yeah.
The only other team I could see from the NFC in the Super Bowl would be Seahawks.
If there's one thing I will say about the NFC this year, I mean, the NFC is based. I've always made the comparison. The NFC is almost like the Eastern Conference and the NBA for all these years. Not this year. The NFC is a bloodbath this year. I mean, I think that like the Rams certainly are a Super Bowl favorite, and for some people, but like it is a bloodbath for a lot of different teams. Like I know we were dogging on the Eagles earlier, but if they switch it back to what they were last year, or at some even moments of part of the season, they're a tough out for anyone. I mean, you got the Rams, you have the Seahawks who are led by defense. It gets to be a bit of a question of what would Darnold be like in the playoffs, but it's just like, I mean, it's really loaded. And I mean, who knows? Like if Dallas kind of sneaks in and with their offense and their revamped defense a little bit, it could get a bit, interesting there. Like the NFC is going to be really a tough battle to watch.
Yeah. Seattle for me is still kind of there you go. It's for that exact reason. I don't know if Sam Darnold is going to play his best football when it matters most. Historically, he hasn't. So we'll see, man. Matthew Stafford is easily the best quarterback in the NFC, and I think the Rams probably have the best roster in the NFC right now. So I think for me, they're going to be really hard to beat.
Yeah. Now we talk about all these other teams, but there were two very important games other than the Broncos ones that happened this week, and that was the Texans and Chiefs, and it was the Eagles and the Chargers. Now the Texans beat the Chiefs, so the Chiefs go to 6-7. Ha ha ha.
I finally learned what that means.
Nothing.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then the Chargers beat the Eagles in overtime after Jalen Hurts throws 4 interceptions, 5 turnovers in general for the Eagles. But the Chargers did have 4 turnovers themselves. Like it was a bad game for both. So my biggest question going into this week is you've got the Chargers versus the Chiefs. Who are we cheering for in that one?
I'm still probably rolling with the idea that I want the Chiefs officially eliminated.
Same.
So, it's one where Chargers do your business, and beat the Chiefs, right? Like, just absolutely beat the Chiefs. And I mean, probably in a perfect world, we probably want the Chiefs to win, but I'm just based on its history the last 10 years, I'm not touching it. Like, I want them. I want to put the Chiefs to bed. Exactly.
I'm actually going for the Chiefs for 2 reasons. I want LA to be another game behind Denver, and I want the Broncos to be the team that gets to bury the Chiefs. I want us to be the ones to freaking hammer that final nail in their coffin. I want us to be the team that kills them. So I'm waiting until that Christmas night game. That would just be the ultimate Christmas present for us to be the team that puts the dagger in the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chargers would lose too, so it's a win-win.
Yeah, it's been up in the air for me, right? Like, and I had this 45-minute conversation with Bill, because you know Bill.
You want to start Stidham.
Right, like what? And he hates the Chargers, so he's picking the Chiefs. And in my head, it's like, I understand where you want the Chargers to lose, because then we gain, as long as we win, then we gain another game on the Chargers. But at the same time, like, there were portions of that Chiefs-Texans game where the Chiefs look like the old Chiefs. And that's what terrifies me a little bit, is they get into the playoffs, and not only might we have to play the Chargers, but we also might have to play the Chiefs. And I don't want that. Like, I don't want the Chiefs anywhere close.
Here's the thing. Denver can win, and we don't have to have this conversation. Denver can just kill the Chiefs on their own.
And just win in general. I will say this, though. I think probably at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because except for this weekend, we are massive Texans fans the rest of the way. Like, we are massive Texans fans the rest of the way. Just because the Chargers have to. If I'm actually the Chargers, I actually hate the fact that they have to play the Houston Texans the week before us, on the very last game of the season. So, like, if you're the Chargers, I am terrified of the fact that the last 2 stretch of games, you have the top 2 defenses in the entire NFL going from the Houston Texans to the Denver Broncos. So I think that, for the fact is that, like, it doesn't really change the fact that I think whoever wins the game between the Chargers and the Chiefs, because, like, they're going to face, the Chargers have to face the Houston Texans. And at the end of the day, if the Houston Texans beat the Chargers, then cut, sealed, and delivered at that point.
I want I'd like the Chargers to beat the Chiefs. I understand Gage's sentiment, but you know what? The sooner the better. Just get them out of the way. I'm looking at the grid that, or the brackets, that if the season were over today and it was starting, Broncos have the bye, and they would play the winner of the number 4 seed Pittsburgh Steelers and the number 5 seed Los Angeles Chargers. Now that second round matchup sure looks good to me, man. I would much rather. I'd be fine with the Chargers winning this game. I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of the Chiefs either. It'd just be nice if they were wiped out.
Yep.
And they had nothing to play for moving forward.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just more thinking of it from the Broncos side of things than the Chiefs side of things.
Yeah, no, well, and that's why I kept going back and forth, because, like, if we're going by playoff seeding, and if our goal is just to clinch a playoff spot, then who cares? We just have to win, or Houston has to win, and then we clinch. But if we're looking for that number 1 seed, right, then, you have to look at these games as like, okay, what benefits Denver, what doesn't, what team goes where, if this team wins and that team wins. And that's basically what we're going to be digging into, for the next, like, 20, 30 minutes, is what possibilities are we looking at here in the playoffs?
Well,
like,
yeah, because I think when you talk specifically about this number 1 seed, this is a big one this weekend. If you're the Patriots, and obviously the Broncos, because I would almost say, and granted, it could be a biased answer here, but it's just like, for me, if I'm looking at it and I'm a Patriots fan, I'm terrified of the fact that the game that Josh Allen just had against the Cincinnati Bengals, coming into that game, going into Foxborough, because Josh Allen can win games by himself. And that's obvious watching the Bills this year. They regressed a little bit, but they're winning games because of Josh Allen. And if that game is any indication of what you're going to see if you're a Patriots, good luck winning that game. Like, honestly, good luck winning that game. And I don't think the Patriots defense is nowhere near on the Broncos level. And the Bills are going to be pissed off for the game that of them losing it. So, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of terrified. And then you have like the game that's going to be after that, where the Ravens are, for probably all intents and purposes, are out of the playoffs. But still, you're
where are all these guys coming from?
I don't know. Yeah, where did all the Cam fans go? I like them.
Seriously, like Cam was getting all kinds of plays last week.
But no, like and like I said, the Ravens are for all intents and purposes out of the playoffs. But Lamar Jackson can easily show up, and it's in Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
Like and it's in Baltimore, so it's just like, and I think that and I brought it up last week, and frankly, it kind of snuck up on me, but that Miami Dolphins game at the end of the year could be a very interesting one, because the Dolphins are still vying for a playoff. So like that Dolphins and Patriots game is going to be a bit dicey too.
So Darian has to let us know what team he supports. I would love.
I would like to know that.
Yeah,
I would also like to know. Clearly, he does not believe in the Denver Broncos, but that's okay. Let him hate, man. Let him continue to not believe, because the Denver Broncos just continue to prove these people wrong.
If he's gonna bring up us losing to the Titans, or almost losing to the Titans, and then he's a Browns fan, like, but he
is a Browns fan, bro.
Oh, by the way,
dude, I got nothing against Shador Sanders, but he doesn't follow teams.
But the Broncos.
He follows Shador. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for outing yourself.
How dirty did they do Shador the other day? Like, he comes back, 2 touchdowns at the end, and then has him on the sideline for the 2-point conversion.
How does that make any sense?
How does Stefanski not get fired after that one?
Did you see Sanders' face on the sideline? I don't blame him for being upset. That was
I'd be so
you do
pissed.
a wildcat to Judkins. Really? That's the best you got.
Well, the funniest thing ever was like, it was like Judkins had a brain fart in the play. Like he realized mid play, oh, this is a trick play. I need to throw it back. Like trying to like turn it upfield, and like I don't know, like
Darian's sitting in his basement wearing a towel and a number 4 jersey. Like this,
going like this.
I said number 4, not a number 12.
Is there any team in the AFC, when we look at the playoffs, that you're concerned about?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I know the Broncos won the game, and by the way, speaking of Houston, that game that the Broncos had against Houston is looking better by the week. There probably is a team that I would be a little bit terrified of.
You just cut off. What was
it? Who'd you say?
Houston.
Okay.
Just because like CJ Stroud just makes them a little bit of a better team. But they don't have nearly as the competent offense as the Broncos have. But he makes them a better team, and then when you have that defense that goes along with it. I will say this, though. The fact they beat them in Houston goes a long way. And the fact that if they do have to play us, it's in our building. And I've said it before, if the Broncos have the number 1 seed, it's going to be hard for teams to go into Denver and beat them on Denver's road to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to say. Nobody wants to come in here in the playoffs, man. The altitude is already a problem, but during the playoffs, that's usually when it's the coldest and windiest here in Denver. The snow falls. It'll sometimes get around like 10 degrees. We all remember that frigid playoff game against the Ravens in 2012. There are just a lot of teams that don't play well in those kind of conditions. So I don't know if there's any team that wants to come into Denver during the playoffs. There are a couple of teams that certainly scare me. Houston, because their defense is elite. Buffalo, because Josh fucking Allen. But outside of that, I got to be honest, I don't think there's a team out there in the AFC that's better than the Denver Broncos.
Mm-mm.
We're going to be looking at this Green Bay game, and I wanted to get this in before we started deviating to other conversations. This Green Bay game is going to be interesting. If Buffalo beats New England, we basically have that game to give. We can lose the game and still be relatively okay for that number 1 seed, but it's all predicated on New England also taking an L. We earned that luxury by getting that win over the Raiders and getting all the tiebreakers over the Patriots.
Yeah.
Jack, what's up?
What up?
And I will say
Jack?
this: like, I know that there's this thing with the Bills. Like, the Bills have been AFC Championship multiple years in a row. I think I agree with you both. I'm more scared of the Texans than I am of the Bills, just because Josh Allen can carry the team. But the problem is that a lot of the time he's coming from behind, right? And even against bad teams, he's coming from behind.
Pause.
No, Denver. But the Bills defense just isn't it. It's just not. It's just not that good.
I will say this. It would be very fitting of a story, based on last year, that it's reversed. The Broncos and Bills play each other again, but this time it's in Denver, so it'd be very fitting of a storyline with how it would be reversed. The Bills have to face the Broncos, but in this time it's actually in their own building, so yeah, I think that would be somewhat fitting, but I will say this though, and I believe it was Glenn that rattled off like the matchups right now. If I'm the New England Patriots, I hate that draw. I absolutely hate that draw. And it's one of the reasons why we talk about Houston. Right? Because if I'm the Patriots and I'm going up against that Houston defense, they can win that game by themselves, right? They can win that game by themselves. And specifically with Drake May in his first playoff experience, and you have to go against that defense. Yeah.
Well, and Gage, I just saw your comment in the chat, and we kind of had that in our group chat. Was if Sean McDermott does get fired, it makes me a little nervous because that's the kind of job that Vance Joseph would leave for. But I still maintain that Brian Daboll would be the right guy to bring in as the coach of the Bills, reuniting him and Josh Allen.
That's not a horrible thought.
I have another guy in mind.
Not like most of your thoughts, but that one's all right.
Wow.
I have another guy in mind, and it's going to piss a lot of Bronco fans off.
Who?
Davis Webb.
You think
I don't hate
coach,
that
though?
one. Here's what I think could happen. I think they could promote Joe Brady to be the head coach because they've already got a bright offensive mind in there who's probably destined to leave to be a head coach. But they might poach Davis Webb to be the offensive coordinator. I don't think that they're going to hire another defensive-minded head coach in Buffalo with Josh Allen in his prime. You have to get him an offensive-minded head coach. But I've been saying this for the last several years. Sean McDermott, yes, he turned around the culture in that building, but he is now actively holding them back from reaching their true potential. They should already have at least 2 Super Bowls with Josh Allen, and the fact that they don't is organizational malpractice.
He's like John Fox.
Yes, literally. I have made that comparison before. He is John Fox for that team.
I mean, his best performance as of late was in the Bill's Hallmark Christmas movie that they just came out of.
But no, I think that and what's crazy is, Josh Allen is winning games by himself. But the one thing I was going to say is, if there is a year, and granted, I feel like we've said that every year, but if there truly is a year for them to fire Sean McDermott and get an upgrade, it is this year. It is undoubtedly this year with how up and down Allen has been, with how up and down the whole offense has been. I mean, it has been pretty disappointing.
Yeah, and we talk about Joe Brady, we talk about Vance Joseph, we talk about Brian Daboll, but honestly, if Sean McDermott gets fired, that immediately makes the Buffalo job the best job in the NFL. Like, you have your franchise quarterback. You've got some good players on defense. You've got some good players on offense. You've got a good front office. That's the job you're looking for.
New stadium.
Yes and no, in my opinion. On
which one would be the better job?
No, but specifically from the Buffalo, the only reason why it would be attractive is because of Josh Allen. That's it. Because I think Buffalo has a lot of and James Cook, but like it's the only reason why it's attractive is because of those two guys. There's a lot of work to do with the Buffalo Bills on that offensive side of the ball, and it resides in the fact of some of the same conversations that we're having here. They don't have a true wide receiver one. They don't. They don't have a true wide receiver one. You could argue they don't have a true wide receiver two. Their wide receiver one, frankly, is a guy who's built like Brandon Cooks. Like, he's
Coleman?
No, Khalil Shakir. So I mean, like, he's not a true wide receiver one, and so
Coleman's been almost benched by them. Like, he was inactive for a couple of games earlier this year.
He was the
coach's decision.
Yeah, so like they have a lot of question marks. They have Cook and Allen, and that's really it. But I wouldn't say that they're like attractive, if you will.
And let's just be honest, who wants to live in Buffalo, New York?
Yeah. Did you see how much snow was coming down in that game? Oofda.
I mean, it's not even that. It's just a small-ass city with nothing to do.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Gage is not the host of the Buffalo Syndicate.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to go visit Buffalo. I'd love to go experience a game there. I'd love to go eat some good wings, but living there? Fuck no.
That is quite the comparison to be making with Keon Coleman and Jermaine Burton. Burton had so much off the field issues.
Coleman's got some attitude problems, but Burton, oof.
Burton's off the field issues may not get him another snap in the NFL.
Yeah, Burton did not get a nice jacket from Macy's. Coleman did.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good jacket.
It was yellow.
Now I do. We'll get to this question in a second, but we've been talking about other AFC teams that are in the playoffs. So I kind of want to bring up the Colts because the Colts just brought in Phillip Rivers, 44-year-old grandpa, off the street, and we have a workout video.
Dime.
Uh-oh, y'all got to unmute yourselves. I know I did that.
I was going to say the sad part is that like the Colts probably pray that he's actually that accurate, But I don't know. Like it is, we I think we said at the time, it's like, you're so desperate that you ask Phillip Rivers, who hasn't taken a snap in like 3 or 4 years.
5 years.
Right? And
he was just eligible for the Hall of Fame.
That's how you know he doesn't think he's going to get it.
He also
in the Hall of Fame anytime soon.
He also signed a 1-day contract with the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken. So like, I come on, man. Like you couldn't even, if you were going to go that far, you couldn't ask Derek Carr out of retirement.
They tried. He said no.
He's too injured.
You couldn't ask like Shane Falco to come in.
Yeah.
Mario Vitanzi.
Yeah.
Boom.
He probably
Arch Leicester.
I do think
Jim Harbaugh,
because
Captain Comeback?
Riley Leonard's hurt, right?
Yeah.
No.
Do we know? Yeah, he's hurt. All of them are hurt. Do we know if he's actually going to play this week or no? Because my assumption is that if he's not, it's Brett Rippon, right?
I'm assuming he's not going to play. I will say this though, and I think it's actually a point that frankly is a one that we need to resurface on.
I like Jeff's point there. The last comment.
This goes to show you Anthony Richardson is one of the biggest busts in NFL history. I said it. It shows you that Anthony Richardson is one of the biggest busts in NFL history. He is on the Jamarcus Russell. I said it like last year. He's on that Jamarcus Russell trajectory. He's a fraud. He's one of the best prospects physically we had ever seen, and yet he can't measure up. And he can't measure up. That's probably the biggest takeaway for me, is that they're relying on a 44-year-old quarterback to try and save that franchise who hasn't played in 5 years. Anthony Richardson's a fraud.
Isn't he a grandfather?
Though. He did almost lose
yeah.
a fucking eye.
He is.
He did almost lose an eye. So, in fairness to him, like I don't think very highly of Anthony Richardson's game either, but I will give him at least some credit where it's due. Like that was a fucked up injury.
I mean, they could have taken in Indy. They could have taken a stab at Mark Sanchez.
Oh!
Wow!
Oh! Glenn
Wow.
was there.
That's funny. Now I'm going to take exception to this comment. What is Denver like? I don't think he understands that the Broncos owners own Walmart. Like, we don't need to win to build a stadium.
We're also getting a new stadium.
And the Browns are getting a new stadium, and they suck.
Seriously.
What are we missing here?
I don't know.
And
But
our
going
stadium
back-
actually staying in our city. You guys are moving to the suburbs.
yeah. And when we talk about Anthony Richardson,
Absolute booty cheeks.
just throwing
Yep.
that out there.
Yep. That is
Yep.
very accurate.
All right. So,
Or actually, Anthony Richardson, nothing about him is accurate.
wow. Wow.
He's so bad they have to rely on Adonai Mitchell as quarterback on a trick play, who clearly, isn't even a quarterback in his own right. So he got shipped off to the Jets.
There you go. All right. So the Broncos this week, in order to clinch a playoff spot, all Denver has to do is win.
Yep.
But if they don't, Denver would have to tie and the Chargers would have to lose, or Denver would have to tie and Jacksonville would have to lose, or Denver tie and Houston would lose, or Denver ties and Indy loses, or Houston loses or ties and Indy loses or ties.
But
Yes.
both can't end in a tie.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the thing that I think is weird for me in regarding the Houston loss. Like, why do we need Houston to lose, right? Like, why? Because we beat Houston. Why would we need Houston to lose, right? Like, because they're playing Indianapolis. Indianapolis beat us, so that's why I'm so confused by that.
Houston's not playing Indianapolis.
Who is Houston playing?
Arizona this week.
Okay, but it said Houston lost. That's why I was like it was bizarre for me, like why we want a Houston loss.
I don't know. It just maths, I guess, because that's the math the NFL put out. I'm no math major, so I'm going to trust that math.
Yeah.
And let's just be honest here. Houston's not losing to Arizona, so we can probably throw any of those scenarios out the window. Colts, they're probably going to lose to Seattle, and indications actually are Phillip Rivers might start this game. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. So
I hope
we'll see, man.
I hope he signed his will before the game.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't trot Philly Riv out there, but he might be their best option at this point. They can't afford to drop another game moving forward.
Yeah.
Jack, our stadium, by the time the other one would be open, would be about 30 years old at that point.
Yeah, it's 26.
24.
Right.
It was
I
20,
still think our
2001.
stadium could go for another 15 plus years, but I know everyone wants the new big thing.
Yeah, Uncle Rico. That's who we need. Go Pack. Ouch. That hurts.
Hey, man, I got nothing against the Packers. Just this week, sorry.
They're a great fan base, by the way.
How fun was that game to watch the other day? That Bears.
Oh.
That was incredible.
Okay,
That was
so,
awesome.
so this is going off topic a little bit. Are the Bears legit?
Yes.
No,
No? You don't think
I
so?
don't believe in Caleb Williams.
You're kidding me.
I don't.
Oh my gosh.
I don't believe in Caleb Williams. I think he's holding him back.
I think they're
I can see that.
they're definitely
I
playing
think
better. I will say this: they're definitely playing better. But I think that if there's one thing, Caleb, I feel like would be holding the back, but I also think he's also been playing better in some games too. I think if there's anything that has been, really impressive for them has been the defense. And if there's one thing nitpicking is they're creating turnovers. Like they're one of the best defenses in creating turnovers. And, and I'm mean, I would agree. I do think, to Jeff's point, I think Caleb is a year behind Bo.
Yeah.
But I think it's evident, though, that Ben Johnson's making him a better player. The thing that really gets me with Caleb, and maybe this is with Gage, is just like the part that is just so very Russell Wilson-esque in his prime still was just like he's just taking unnecessary sacks and making, unnecessary.
That is the downside. You're right.
And just making some unnecessary mistakes. Look, Bo Nix doesn't make a play like that with the game on the line, as we've seen, this year. I think that, if there's anything that has been well known, is that Caleb Williams is actually a choker, and Bo Nix is not.
Yeah. I still see Caleb Williams leaving a lot of meat on the bone in structure. I feel like he still takes some unnecessary sacks. He will make some splash plays like we saw at USC, but he's just not a player who you can depend on right now to be a pure drop back quarterback. And I wonder if that's going to hold back this Bears team long term, but they've got the coaching to scheme around it. They've got a defense that's playing awesome, so they can certainly cover up for these deficiencies. But if Caleb Williams has to be the person to win you a game, we saw in Green Bay, he couldn't do it. So
almost though, man, it was close. I mean, I think he's a lot better at this point than I was truly expecting, especially with that article that came out at the beginning of the season. And for the Bears to have the number 1 seed going into that game, they've since lost it, obviously, but I was impressed with him. I haven't gotten a chance to watch many games with him this year, but boy, I thought that was a fun one.
I definitely agree that he's gotten better from the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Like the beginning of the year was rough, but I still have doubts, like long term, if he's the Bears franchise quarterback.
Yeah. All right, so current playoff picture right now, Broncos still have the number 1 seed. Patriots are the 2 seed because there's a tiebreaker with, is it conference?
Is Darian you might want to edit that, Mike. Is Darian?
Yeah, you might want to ban that one.
Yeah, I'm already on it.
Is Darian a Cam fan?
I have no idea.
I'm a Cam
Wow.
fan. St. Bo, is that true? Wow. You're not acting like it. No, I'm just kidding.
And asking what Bo has won, he's won 22 games now, right?
I think it's 23.
Or
He's
23, whatever it is.
Also 10 fourth quarter comebacks, but Google exists, Darian. Google absolutely exists. So, maybe use
You're
that.
turning on your fan.
Just don't Google waffle stompers, because then you'll screw up your timeline and all that kind of stuff.
It says C. Creevy.
Creepy. Broncos number 1 seed, Patriots number 2 seed. We have the tiebreaker by conference record, right?
Right now we do.
Or is it common opponents win?
It's
Over the Patriots?
Yeah.
We got all the tiebreakers, literally all of them right now.
them losing the Raiders game gave us conference opponent. Common opponent, I should say.
You know what the Patriots did, which was just like the Bengals? Exactly that. They won the game that really hurt them in the end.
I mean,
yes.
just 10 in a row, but
Yes, they can. Let me tell you why. Because the Eagles won it all last year with Jalen Hurts.
Lordy. Jags are currently the number 3 seed. So that's going to be a big matchup for the Broncos in 2 weeks. Next week we play the Jags. That's got some playoff implications right there.
So bring up Grizzlies fan here for a second.
Oh, God.
So you're going to praise Sean Payton for being a damn good offensive coordinator, yet you're going to say that his quarterback gets exposed in the postseason. Which one is it, buddy?
He's also not an offensive coordinator.
Well, I mean, he is basically our offensive coordinator, but
when Elway hired him, he hired him as offensive coordinator.
Ooh,
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
How be a guest?
I'll be a guest.
I don't know.
Luck be a lady. I mean, who knows?
Our guest. I'm going to get copyright on Disney.
You gotta do the.
We should probably wind it down. I think the boys need to Get to the other
Oh,
pod.
I don't care.
Yeah, fuck Mario. And he didn't
Yeah.
invite us, so we're going to keep these motherfuckers.
We're almost done. Anyways, it's fine. Steelers number 4 seed. You got the Chargers number 5, Bills number 6, and Texans number 7. Now the Bills do still have a shot at the is it AFC East, or because they're 2 games behind the Patriots right now, so they still have a shot at that.
Yeah, we do need to scoot, guys. We do.
You know,
need
that's
to...
probably a bot, Mike. You should probably ban
I
that
know.
one.
I just like doing that. It's fun. Fine,
Guys.
we'll get going. Cam No, Cam and Glenn gotta leave, so we gotta end the show now. We want to thank everybody for joining us. We wish we could go longer, but Glenn and Cam gotta leave.
Thanks, all.
Because of Mario.
Watch out for
Make
the
sure you
bitterness,
check
guys.
out the MHRT network. All the shows they've got. Hit like, subscribe, thumbs up, and join. Same thing with Broncos Syndicate. Hit all those buttons as well. Don't tune in to Mainly Broncos because Cam's making us leave early. We'll see you guys later. Peace out.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up.